Here we go. So after you get the hang of variables, then the next thing that you'll want to get a grasp on is operations that can be done. So these are some of the basic operations that you can do in Python. Starting with obviously the one that you've seen me use already, the assignment operation, which is just x equals 5. You can use this equal sign to assign any variable. Whereas there's also ways to, or you can also add to the variable. You can see here with x equals x plus 5. That's one way to add to a variable. Another way to add to a variable is this x plus equals 5. That also adds 5 to that variable. So say 5, x plus 5 makes it into 10. And so when it's 10, then this adds another 5 to it, making it 15 here. And this is just printing it out to the command line. Each of these print statements is doing just printing out to the command line. X minus 5 brings it back from 15 down to 10 again. Then down here, minus works the same way. Minus equals and x minus 5 are the same thing. Then we have x equals x divided by 2. That this slash can be used for division. And then finally we have these last two operators. This is the multiplication, so x times 2 right here. And this is the modulus operator. So this one's a little bit more interesting. So it takes x divided by 3 here. And it doesn't matter what x divided by 3 is. What does matter is what's left over afterwards. So x is 10 after it's been multiplied by 2 here. It becomes 10. And so when you divide 10 by 3, then it can go into it 3 times, giving you 9. But what's left, but only 3 times, and then there's still that 1 left over after you've gone into it 3 times. That 1 is what gets returned by the modulus operator. So x becomes 1 in this circumstance because that's what's left over. So this isn't a super common need. I use it a lot because I work a lot with frame rates. So every frame, I'll be doing something new, and I have certain things that I only want to run every 10 frames or every 20 frames, something like that. And so I can use this modulus operator to say something like x modulus 10, so that run equals x modulus 10, run interval equals x modulus 10, where x is the frame count that we're at. And every time that we run a frame, we add 1 to x so we can keep track of frame count. So every 10 frames, or if I do something like if run interval equals 0, then I can do whatever else that I need to do. Oh, I almost made a classic mistake. This run interval should be equals 0, not equals 0, because equals 0 is the check. Equals 0 is assigns it to 0. So as long as it equals 0, then that means that it's been 10 frames and it runs the next thing. So that's what you would an example of a use for a modulus operator. So it should print all of these out as it goes, and x ends up at 1. What this does next is these checks that I was just talking about. This equals checks to see if these are equal to each other. If they're equal, then this will return true and print out true. Another thing, this str that this is doing, this just makes it so that it can be printed out and added to this string. Otherwise, you can't add it to a string. You can print it out, but you can't do this right here where you add it to a string. So instead, I guess another way that you could do this is you don't need this str here. You could do something like comma, which just splits it up. So this right here, this x equals y, will return true if they're equal to each other. And then this not equals, think of this explanation point as not equals y, x not equals y. That will return true if they're not equal to each other. Otherwise, it returns false. Then these are called and or operators. So this and will return true if both of these values are true, and only if both of them are true, or returns true if just one of them is true. Otherwise, it will return false if neither of them is true. So these are some of the basic operations, and then you can see here I actually already ran it. I'll run it again just to prove it to you. And down here you see all the output from it. At line 8, here you got it's equal to 10, 15, 10, and then it starts printing these out. Once you start doing division, it switches from integers to float numbers. Float numbers have those dots behind them. So it casts it into a float number so that I could do divisions and multiplications more accurately with it. Oh, whoops. And so this actually ruined my point because I forgot to change that back. So let's save that and run it again. And now it should tell us, so y will be 1 here. X should also be 1. What happened here? Let's see. Did I save it? Nope, that's run interval. There we go. And I accidentally added something in the end because I meant to save. So start debugging. There we go. Now x ends at 1. So x is 1, y is 1, and z is 3. So as x equals to y, that comes out as true because they are equal to each other. Are they not equal? That comes out as false because they are equal to each other. And this is supposed to say not equal. Here, that was a typo on my part. But imagine this says not equal. So are they not equal? That's true because they're not equal to each other. Are they equal? That's false because they are not equal to each other. And then down here you have true and true, true and false, false and false. The only one of these that should come out as true is this true and true because they're both true. The and means they both have to be true for this to pass. And if neither of them is true, it's false. And then this or operator means that either one of them can be true for it to pass. So this, these true, false, whatever can be replaced with these checks that we're talking about. So if, instead of true, we can put x equals y here, and that'll return true and check it against this false. It would be like, and then we say x equals z. That we could replace false with x equals z, and it would have the same outcome. And so hopefully that gave you some of the understanding of operations. I think next we'll go into some of the control flow stuff, like you were seeing me use that if statement and things like that.